Years ago, I met a very, very successful man. He taught me something I never forgot for the rest of my life. He said, Tony, whatever you do in your life, whenever you find you're going to go someplace where there's some great ideas and great resources, he said, always make sure you take a pen and paper. He said, because what you want to do is you want to be able to capture those ideas and cement them to paper so you can review them in the future. In fact, what he got me to do was to keep a journal, and I would highly encourage you, by the time you come to the next management session, or maybe even during a break today if you wanted to get yourself a hardbound journal. Hardbound journal meaning not a loose leaf. And you can get those in all kinds of stationery stores, some religious bookstores. And the bottom line is, if you keep a journal, you don't even write it every day, but when you get thoughts or ideas, you capture it there, you can't believe it'll happen. You'll start to accumulate a wealth of knowledge and ability and skills and resources that not only will help you, but you can help other people as well. I've been keeping journals myself now for about a dozen years. And I go back and review my life, and it has two real values, I think. One is, it gives you a chance to really see how much you've grown. Because how many of you have kids? I'm curious. How many of you have somebody come up and say, boy, your kid's really growing? You go, really? Because you're so close to them, you don't notice it as much. How many found that to be true? Guess what? It's even worse with yourself. Sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for the amount that we're growing, but I'll tell you one thing, if you keep a journal, it won't be hard to see how much you're growing. Because you'll see the kind of goals you had back then, the kind of things you thought back in those days, and you'll begin to see the evolution of your growth. Also, I personally believe that if life's worth living, it's worth recording. And it's an incredible gift to give to your children, because someday they get to know exactly how you were at different times in your life, and they get to learn your lessons without having to go through it. How many of you, be honest, have felt feelings at times and you were upset, but you didn't share it because you didn't know how, or you didn't share it because, well, you thought, well, maybe it's really about me, or you didn't share it because you didn't want to offend somebody even though you were mad or upset? How many of you had that experience in the past? And when you don't share something, what happens when you just keep it inside and build it up? Yeah, it festers. Does it get better or worse? It gets a lot worse, and eventually what happens, then you blow up about something that could have been handled so much easier along the way. But then there's the other approach, which is you're looking for things on a regular basis to be able to give people feedback about. And some people develop that habit, or you communicate in a way where basically you're communicating your feelings, like you're upset, but do you always have all the information? No. And so you're making a decision about how to feel based on false information. How many of you have ever gotten upset and later on felt a little dumb because you found out you were upset about something really shouldn't have been upset about? So one philosophy says, keep it inside. The other philosophy says, well, get it out. Well, what if you get it out and then you find out you were wrong? By the way, do we like being wrong? No. So then what would we probably do? Justify, defend? Well, well, yeah, I didn't know that, but if you've done that before. Right? And that does not make a relationship work. Plus, that person gets upset. It's kind of like, anybody ever come up to you and say, why are you upset? And you go, I'm not upset. You go, no, yeah, you are. You go, no, I'm not. Yes, you are. Well, I'm getting upset. Okay, that also happens unless we're really clear. So what we're really going to do is we're going to start our whole basis of studying of communication to remember one thing, and write this in your notes if you would, and that is the quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your communication. Period. Now, pretty basic idea, nothing earth-shattering, but I'm here to tell you that's your entire life comes down to this. The quality of your entire life comes down to the quality of how you communicate. With whom? The quality of your life starts with the quality of how you communicate to yourself. That's where it all starts. How you feel is not based on the environment. Is it based on how you feel? Is that determined based on whether you have lots of money? Yes or no? All of our suffering as human beings, and I deal with people all the time. I mentioned you off camera, two people I coached yesterday. One's presidential candidate, and the other one is a rap superstar. Right? Both in the same day. And without naming any names, people that have everything, like they have fame, they have love, they have people meeting, and they have great economics, financial freedom, and they have homes, and they have fashion, they have everything. They're the majority are miserable. I'm not bullshit. I'm the one that gets the phone call. The vast majority. When I say miserable, they're so used to it, some of them don't even realize they're miserable. But most do. They get a place where it's like, how do I keep this up? How do I keep outdoing myself? How do I, build these 32 companies, how to keep all 32 going and make them all grow every single year? And that's not how life is, right? And then they worry about what will people think, what will they do? So the decision to say, I am not going to suffer. That if suffering arises, pain's one thing, suffering's another. Suffering is when you're like, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine is a very famous
watched the finals.
That's amazing.
2 months ago. 500 million people, right? So 500 million, that's how it is in India. And people are saying this is going to be as big as, for them, cricket is the ultimate thing, right? Big as cricket. So his team valuation, I'm making the number up, I think it's gone to like $500 million in 2 years from, $25 million. And his team is number 2 in the whole world, right? Wow. He's got these great players. So I'm with him, and he gets a phone call. And he's just got done telling me about this great success and where it is and how proud he is and how everyone goes to the games and people are so thrilled and it's just become this movement in India and he created, he's so proud of it. And he gets this phone call, and the phone call is from his management team telling him that one of his competitors has just offered 4 times as much money as he was offering to his top 3 athletes who are the core of his whole team. And of course they all took them, right? And he was so angry. He was like, I can't even believe this. These guys were working in shops, and I brought them here, and I made them a star on national television, and they have no loyalty to me. And he's suffering. And the way you suffer is you focus on yourself. Suffering comes when we obsess about ourselves, what we're getting or not getting, what we should have done, what others should have done for us. It's the me, 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 me game. You, my dear friend, and I say this with no blowing smoke, your primary core is a giver, which is why you're prospering. You're not the me, me, me. You're like, how do I give more, do more, share more, create more? How do we do a better job for our clients? How do we do a better job for our internal customers who work with us, our partners? Your entire life is that. That's why you're prospering. And you're not feeling suffering. But when you do suffer, and I promise you do, you correct me if I'm wrong, it'll because you're worrying about something in the future. How's this going to happen? Will this come together? Suffering could be worry, it could be anger, it could be frustration. It's anything that takes you out of a beautiful state. And here's what people don't get. You can end suffering by stop focusing on yourself and focus on something you want to serve greater than yourself. Your children, your wife, your mission, your life. You can get out of it in an instant because the nature of the human mind is to constantly compare things. Your mind, your brain is a 2 million year old device, and it is not designed to make you happy. It's designed to make you survive.
Ordinary just simply isn't enough. Ordinary is when you want to become average and to fit in. But to get to extraordinary, what you do is you have to consult the invisible place within yourself. And this is called your soul. And your soul, well, I jotted down a few words about the soul based on a lecture I heard from a great teacher of mine who lived in Bulgaria. He was an initiatic science teacher. And his lecture was very profound. And I wrote these words after listening to one of his recorded lectures. He said the ideal of the soul, the thing it asks for is neither knowledge, nor life, nor happiness. The ideal of the soul is space, immensity. The one thing the soul needs is to be free. Free to expand and reach out and to embrace the infinite. Yes, the ideal of the soul is infinity. It is miserable when it is circumscribed and restricted. It is a fragment of the universal soul, which is infinite. That's what I speak about here in this program. The need to move beyond just fitting in. The need to move past being circumscribed. The soul does not like when you get fenced in, when it is told what to do, when it's told it has limitations, when it's told it can't become that. And so many of us go through our life with these enormous limitations that we've placed upon ourselves that have been handed to us from the time that we were little boys and little girls. If you would like to accomplish something, you must first expect it of yourself. And my question to you is, what do you expect of yourself? Do you expect to be able to perform miracles, to attract into your life the kind of prosperity that you are entitled to? Do you expect that you can manifest the kind of relationships that you would like? In order to be able to have these kinds of expectations for yourself, you have to make a dramatic change, a dramatic shift. You must change what's possible for you and what you believe is possible for you. But the question becomes, who am I? I've been teaching philosophy for 40 years now, either at the high school level or junior high school level or university level, graduate school, and now in stages all over the world and in front of audiences such as this, watching at home and here this evening. Who are you? And what is real? My teacher in India, his name was Nisargadatta Maharaj. He was asked the question, Swami, what is real? Master, what is real? And his response was, that is real, which never changes. So what part of you is real by that definition? Who are you that never changes?
So-called unhappiness is also a childish way of trying to change things by being as unhappy as you can about them. And the underlying unconscious or semi-conscious assumption is, if I'm really unhappy, somebody, perhaps God, is going to do something about it, or I'm going to prove him wrong. I'm going to show him how dreadful it is, and then finally, this is an unconscious assumption behind the unhappiness, because you believe, if you're habitually and frequently unhappy, you believe that it has a purpose. It's an underlying assumption. Perhaps you wouldn't verbalize it in that way, but you believe that it works for you. Of course it doesn't, but things are going to change, but just need to be really unhappy, so that God finally, even if you don't believe in God, this can still be the mechanism, the underlying unconscious assumption behind it. It's something's going to happen. And of course the opposite is true, because the more unhappy you are with something, the more you are stuck in the situation.
I think it really starts with realizing that you don't love yourself, that most people don't. Most people feel they're not good enough, that they haven't done it right, they won't do it right, they'll never be enough, and they're definitely not lovable. And when we come from that space, it's very hard to create things for ourselves that are really good. So in the early days when I worked with people, I used to fix this problem and fix that problem, and you'd have this, a health thing, and we'd work on that and we'd work on this. And one day I discovered, much to my amazement, that if I would help people learn to love themselves, to really accept themselves as they are, we didn't have to work around problems, because it was almost like a miracle. Everything seemed to fall away. It's a hard one for people, because we grow up believing that what is really wrong with you. What have you done that is so terrible that you're not acceptable to yourself? And I never, ever got an answer that made any sense. You know, they might say something like, well, I'm too fat. Well, so, you know, but when you talk about loving yourself, a lot of people think that that's vanity, but it isn't really. It has nothing to do with that. That is narcissistic. But to really care for you and to acknowledge that you are an important being. It's almost like in the Bible they would say, you recognize that you are a child of God, that therefore you are perfect. But even if you're not a biblical person, if you can recognize that you are a being that has self-worth, if you can really recognize your own worth, then you start to treat yourself differently. And I think that's what's so very important about loving yourself, is you stop beating yourself up, you stop making yourself wrong, you stop talking about how awful you are, and you stop saying things like, I'm really stupid and stuff, and you start to treat yourself with a certain amount of respect. And this makes an enormous difference, because what you give out in life is what comes back to you. So if you're giving out a feeling of, I'm okay, I'm good enough as I am, and I am acceptable, and I love life, and I love me, and you start having gratitude for yourself and for life, then life treats you differently, because you are having a different vibration that you're giving out and getting back. And that's when things really start to flow. Now, a lot
35, 40, if you are not as joyful and as exuberant as a 5-year-old boy or girl that you were, obviously you're a disaster because you're not even square one. That was square one of your life when nothing was in your control, all right? You're not even in square one, you sunk deeper. That's a disastrous life.
We all get to decide what our values are, what our belief system is, what our rules in life are, the code of ethics that we live by. Those are all decisions that people mistake for empirical truth. But if you want to know how just unempirically true it is, look across all societies, they don't share it.
Because each of these places carries with it a value system, a belief system, things that are unique to that group that you grow up in, what your parents tell you about your family, about you, what it means to be you, what you learn in schools, what you see in the media, all of that stuff is shaping how you view yourself and how you view the world. But it's happening insidiously because it is so invisible. People don't realize that they are choices. Now, once you reframe all of this as new and thusly get a different result, everything changes.
Question of what do you stand for? And I will say this, you're nothing if you're not the truth. Substance through your service, your offering of your whole self.
You're always reaching out, so to speak, internally to the next.